Dito kami ngayon guys sa Miraflores lang, Panama Canal.
The history of the Panama Canal is a tale of ambition, engineering marvels, and international politics that reshaped global trade and travel. Here's an overview. Early interest and failed French attempt. 16th century idea. The concept of a canal through Central America dates back to the early 1500s when Spanish explorers, including Vasco Núñez de Balboa, crossed the Isthmus of Panama. They realized the potential of a shortcut between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans but lacked the technology to build it. 19th century feasibility. By the 1800s, as global trade grew, various countries showed interest in a canal. The US and France were particularly keen, seeing it as a strategic advantage. French attempt 1881–1894. The first serious attempt to build the canal came from the French under Ferdinand de Lesseps, the engineer behind the Suez Canal. Construction began in 1881. But the project faced massive setbacks due to tropical diseases, malaria and yellow fever, difficult terrain, and financial issues. The French effort ultimately failed by 1894. After tens of thousands of lives were lost, and Lesseps' company went bankrupt. U.S. involvement and construction. U.S. interest. In the early 20th century, the U.S. saw strategic and economic benefits in building a canal and was keen to succeed where the French had failed. President Theodore Roosevelt strongly supported the idea. Panama's independence 1903. Panama was then part of Colombia. When Colombia refused to allow the U.S. to build the canal, Roosevelt supported a Panamanian independence movement. Panama declared independence in 1903, and the new government signed the Hay-Bunau-Varilla Treaty with the U.S., granting the U.S. control over the canal zone in exchange for financial compensation. Construction 1904–1914. The U.S. effort began in 1904 and was led by engineers like John F. Stevens and George Washington Goethals. Overcoming diseases was a priority, and sanitation efforts led by Dr. William Gorgas successfully reduced malaria and yellow fever by draining swamps and improving water sanitation. The construction itself involved a combination of lock and lake design. Engineers created an artificial lake, Lake Gatun, and a series of locks to lift ships over the mountainous terrain. The project cost around $375 million and was a landmark engineering feat of its time. Completion and opening 1914. The canal was completed in 1914, with the SS Ancon making the first official transit on August 15. It drastically shortened the maritime route between the Atlantic and Pacific, revolutionizing global trade. Later developments and the canal's transfer. American control. The U.S. initially retained control of the Panama Canal Zone, managing the canal's operations and defense. This control became a source of tension with Panama over the decades. Panama Canal Treaties 1977. Under President Jimmy Carter, the U.S. signed the Torrijos-Carter Treaties with Panama in 1977, agreeing to gradually transfer canal control to Panama. The treaties established that the canal would remain neutral and accessible to all nations. Panama takes control 1999. On December 31, 1999, Panama assumed full control over the canal. Today, the Panama Canal Authority (ACP) manages it, modernizing and expanding operations. Expansion and modern era. Expansion Project 2016. To accommodate larger modern ships, an expansion called the Panama Canal Expansion Project or third set of locks project was completed in 2016. This allowed ships nearly 3 times the size of those in 1914 to pass, reinforcing the canal's importance in global trade. The Panama Canal today remains a crucial artery for maritime trade, supporting around 14,000 vessels each year and continuing to impact the global economy.